Hi, everybody. This is Kathy L. Murphy, and I'm reporting live from the University of Texas campus here in Tyler, Texas. And I'm with Antonina Duridanova, and she is a fabulous author. This is the second time that I've picked her books for our selections, and I want to show it to you because it's extra special to me. I want you to know that I picked the book before this happened, but she asked me to do her book cover. So this is her book cover that I painted. Now, the graphics were done by her publisher, but this is her cover, and she's all glam, but it's called The Magic of Longevity. And I'm really excited that you're here because when I was going to feature you for your last book, you were on a book tour. Had you gone to Bulgaria? Is that where that's your
That's correct, because this same book, and I happen to have the Bulgarian version with me. It came out, it was published in Bulgaria, and it just got published here. So it came out in Bulgaria last June. So I did an extensive book tour, starting with the capital and going to the Black Sea and so forth. So the book had a tremendous success in Bulgaria. Uh, People already knew me from the first book, which was Escape from, the communist regime. I was invited to TV stations. One TV station invited me to a show which was named Health, and I was the only, I would say, person who wasn't a doctor invited to that show. They just, yeah. So that was a big honor for me, and I have to say that the enjoyment of sharing what I created with this book was tremendous.
Well, you say that you're not a doctor, but how many degrees do you hold, Antonina? I mean, you've got a lot of degrees, and I want people to know your background. Tell a little bit about your education.
Okay, I will be brief. I was born and raised in communist Bulgaria, and I had a dream which I wanted to follow. I wanted to work in the business world, but I also liked foreign languages, so I wanted to go that direction. And while I was growing, I started to notice very regular and at one point horrible things, the truth that actually I described in my book New Beginnings from Behind the Iron Curtain. So when I was 19, I realized that this was not a place where I could realize my dreams. So when this is what the book is about, just teaching people that if there is an obstacle, if they want to achieve something, they have to figure out what that obstacle is and overcome it. And for me, the obstacle was this regime. So I found a way to escape from there. Arriving in America with just a suitcase, I started my life here from zero. So the book shows the reader the roadmap to success, because I do have 3 degrees. One degree is in languages. As I said, I love foreign languages, so it's in French and Russian, actually, languages and literature. And I didn't stop at that. I have to say that people should not stop when they're studying. And you're a perfect example. You are at the university right now. So it is never too late. You have to keep on developing yourself. So I went back to school, and I did get a couple of other degrees in business. And at that point, I was selected to work for U.S. Treasury and called to help out when communism collapsed. They asked me if I was interested in going back to help out with building a new regime, a new system, because their laws were outdated. They were just for a state economy, and now you have a democracy. So for a democracy, you need new laws which can govern in a free market economy. So I spent there close to 4 years. Fabulous times, because the people were so eager to learn, and they were so enthusiastic and so happy, and so open to all ideas coming from the West, especially from America. And the funny thing is, when people were asked, well, they were asked why they chose to ask assistance from the states in terms of building up a tax administration. They said, well, the states this is the country that managed to deal with Al Capone, and they love these stories about Al Capone.
Al
So that's
Capone.
why they came here. They said they had in the 90s when communism collapsed, they had Al Capone time in, in these countries. So this is the environment that I operated for 4 years, and everything that I created was accepted tremendously and with big enthusiasm. So uh, I describe everything in this book that I created, that I wrote, New Beginnings from Behind the Iron Curtain. I describe this roadmap to this glamorous career that I have to go back and help, as a representative of the U.S. government. And what I wanted to point out with this book is that people need to really overcome all of their difficulties. If they want to really be successful, they have to have a purpose in life, and they have to know what they're going to gain when they get, when they accomplish and realize their dreams. And that will determine actually the status of their life. Their living will be determined by accomplishing that goal. So a lot of people get motivated by this story, and it's also it has a history in it, which is good to know, because we should know what history is about so we don't have it repeated. And communism is one severe regime that people should know the truth about it. I'm not going to go into the description of the regime. That's on the purpose of this meeting, but everything is in this book, so people should really take a look at it.
Well,
To
you are so inspiring to me. And one of the things when we met it live for our annual book club convention in Amelia Island, Florida, you brought a photograph
Mhm.
of that was, I don't know, the background on it. Can you tell a little bit about that photograph that you bought that we put for, it was silent auction, and
Mhm.
all the money we raised went to the Pat Conroy Literary Center in Beaufort, South Carolina. And that photograph brought the most money. I think it was $1,000, wasn't it, for the
It
photograph?
did, indeed.
And it's so exciting to me. But tell a little bit about that photograph, because it was very historical and there's a story behind it. I love the stories behind the story.
I know. This photograph was of a park with a building which is called a cultural building with a beautiful fountain in front. And that building in this park is in the neighborhood where I grew up. But the photo is at the time when communism was already gone. So it looked just glamorous. And it is a symbol of freedom. And that's what I wanted to really show with this photograph, that, freedom is something that's very precious. And just the image of the photo describes how, freedom impacts our minds. And the other thing is I wanted to also relate the message that people here in the States should really consider themselves so happy and so lucky to really be born in such a beautiful, free country.
It's so true. I think, here on campus, we don't have any idea. I was talking about with my professor about how little I really knew about the Cold War, because I mean, I was trying to remember, even in school, in history in high school, if we even covered the Korean War, or the war in Afghanistan, Vietnam, any of these wars. I don't remember them ever being covered. We covered the Revolutionary War, and we covered a little bit of World War One, touched on World War II, but I think that's why everybody needs to be lifelong readers, because being an art history major, taking this Cold War class, I can now really appreciate both your books. I didn't bring the other one with me, but what you went through to get to this. Everybody needs to read this book and share it with their families, because it's something that most Americans don't know about. And unless you're really into that, you're not going to hear it in the typical lesson plans of high school or
Right.
even grade school. So
Yes. What I find out is people who know about it are usually people who have this, who are descendants. For example, their grandparents or somebody came from there, so they're maybe second generation in the States. Otherwise, Americans do not really have much knowledge of the Cold War and what happened after the Second World War. And this is very important because it is this war which really marked the destiny of our planet. We have problems now because of what happened during the Cold War. The world was divided because of this Cold War. And what the aftermath of the Second World War was just horrible. So, knowing history, and especially that period, will help people understand why we have problems now in Russia, Ukraine, and all over the world. Why do we have North Korea and what's going on there? Well, North Korea is exact image from Eastern Europe, what happened in all of this country, that part of Europe, which has an ancient history. And now in Ukraine, that history is destroyed with all of the, things that are going on with the war and people being displaced again. So people need to know facts of that period in order to understand contemporary, events. Very important.
but what's amazing to me is just what an upbeat personality you are. I mean, you do art, you read, you go to museums, you travel the world. Where do you think that joy of life comes from? And it's shared all through this book. So if you think you're going to be reading a book about history, no, no. This is
This
a book
is a-
this is a book that is going to inspire everybody to go after their dreams. And so where do you think it comes from? Is this your mother, your father? Is this a DNA thing, or where does this come
Um,
from?
I would say that it's the upbringing, your environment, the family where you grow up, your roots. The book describes that, I had this connection with nature when I was young, and that's what magic is about. We have to reconnect with nature, and a lot of people do not realize that. I was spending summers at my grandmother's ranch. Well, this ranch was destroyed by the communists, but nonetheless, the place was beautiful. And my connection with nature started in those early days, and that's where all of the joy and all of the excitement that you see that I have when I'm talking about different experiences in my life comes from.
And I love watching how you have all these beautiful posts with your family and sharing meals. And, now that, here in the United States, when I grew up, everybody always went to grandma's for
Mm.
Christmas Day. And now we're also spread out. We don't get together and share meals like we did, but your family does. I'm really impressed with that and how you get to be near. Now, your kids are they all in Texas now, or parts?
Actually, we're spread out a little bit too. My son is in Michigan because originally when I came to the
Yeah.
state, I
Mhm.
lived in Michigan. And my youngest, my daughter is in Kentucky, and I have a daughter in San Antonio. But I do get around, I do go to see them, they come and visit me. So I want to keep this connection. The connection with the family is very important. This is where you get your source of energy. Um, and everything that determines what you become, it comes from the family.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's wonderful. Is there you went on a tour in Europe, and
Mhm.
so what were the biggest surprises when people saw your book or or maybe read your story? What were some of the comments that people would tell you?
They were really curious about the topics that I brought up because uh, what the book brings out is the fact that we all live in a way that it is predetermined by our habits, and these habits they're instilled in us from our childhood, and we don't even think what we do during the day, but that's all based on habits. So by reading the book and by listening to me, people started to reevaluate their habits and how they spend their days. What you do from the time you get up until you go to bed, because that's very important, preserving your energy. What you do during the day and employing all of your habits is what determines your energy level, and whether you can accomplish what you plan for the day, is based on how you really employ different things in I would say physical exercises, mind, mental, as well as nutrition. All of this combined, it has to be considered. And I want to what I wanted to stress is that you cannot consider your head apart from your body. It's not connected. So you cannot really exercise your brain without exercising your body. And what I recommend in the book is that people should alternate their physical and mental exercises during the day, because this is going to give them the strength to continue doing what they plan for the day. As well as nutrition, you have to pay attention to what you really consume for lunch, because if you plan to work the rest of the day, you should not have a big meal and have a siesta after that, because there's the reason why they have siestas and they close restaurants in the cities, go to sleep in the afternoon, because they have big meals. But in our contemporary life, we cannot do that. So light meals are recommended, for lunch, and of course dinners are also light. But I do not. The book, what everybody liked is that it doesn't really recommend any kind of strict regimes or strict programs. I do not. Exercise these 10,000 steps during the day or whatever else people follow. For me, everything has to be very relaxed. You have to enjoy your walking when you're out, and I definitely, you need to be outside, weather permitting, because this is where you get energized. It's not just your physical exercise, but it's also your psychological mind and state of mind. uh, you know so everything is connected. You cannot do one thing without that thing having an impact on something else. So your physical exercise should be connected with your psychological, uh, you know well, it should have psychological impact. And then of course the nutrition should help you, get through the day. It is Also, they were surprised. It is in the book I actually talk about not being vegetarian, because people, when they took the book, they said, "Are you vegetarian?" I said, "No, no, no, I'm not vegetarian," and they were happy about it. In Europe they do like to have their meat. I'm
Well,
always,
I live in Texas. There's not
oh,
very many
Texas,
vegetarians here.
in
Yeah.
Texas, but what I recommend is just the portions of meat. I mean, you can have like a nice fillet, but a small portion. And, for me, meat is more like a side dish, which is surrounded by vegetables and salads. And that's what makes it a healthy meal. And of course, you need to listen to your body, because if you listen to your body will tell you, do not have too much meat, because your stomach, you will feel heavy, and when you overeat, it's really not a nice feeling. um, and of course it's not, because your body has to work extra hard
Mhm.
to really be able to get this food through your system. So other things about nutrition that I can say is eat slowly. um, do not eat just before you go to bed. I usually try not to eat anything. Well, you could munch, but like 4 or 5 hours before you sleep. And somebody said in one of our meetings, well, but in Europe people eat late. They eat like 7, 8 o'clock. I said, I don't eat after 6. I said, well, we eat at 7, 8. I said, well, so what time do you go to bed? 1. Well, that's okay. If you eat at 7, you go to bed at 1. Then it just the time that you have. You let your body um, uh, well, you let your body relax, and the food gets through your system. So that's important. Uh, they liked. in Europe they like the chapters of travel, because for me travel is very important. Uh,
Mhm.
it's the unique experience where everything is combined and you don't even pay attention to it. It just happens because you are involved in walking. You know, my travel involves hiking and swimming and you know, snorkeling. And what I'm talking about in the book also is that you can take on new activities. You don't have to follow my activities. Just think about the things that you like to do and incorporate those things in your regime, in your daily you know, routine, whatever you're doing. But you know, you're doing all of these things when you travel without any kind of stress. You're not looking at your time, what you're doing now. And the other thing is, of course, you get to exercise your brain because you're learning new things. If you're at a new place, you're going to have a geography, history, art, absolutely everything combined while you're visiting all of these locations. And not to talk about the beauty of nature, you know. When you're traveling, whether you're at the seaside or you're in the mountains, the world is just extremely beautiful. And what I've done is I have QR codes in the book so people can have connection with the chapters they read by opening these QR codes and looking at photos that I took during this trip. So I guess if you read through the chapters about my travels, you're going to find different ways of travel. So I just want to stress that people do not have to have a lot of money to travel, and you don't have to go that far from your home. My first chapter is actually traveling in Bulgaria because I went there and I thought, well, I wanted to show Bulgarians that if they don't have the financial ability to get out of the country, there are beautiful places around, you know, close to their houses, which they can visit. But nonetheless, even traveling in Europe, everybody would say, well, Switzerland is very expensive. Well, it's not. I'm describing there. Well, it can be expensive. It depends how you travel. But I'm describing a trip in Europe for 30 days backpacking, which I wanted to do when I was 15, 16 in Bulgaria. I couldn't do it in those days, but I did it when I was 67 or 8, something like that.
Oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you. That's awesome. No wonder you look
Yes.
so good. But you can't be over 40. I mean, come on, let's face it.
Well, it just you know, how you feel. Age is just, you know, it's a number, but it
Number.
depends how you feel. Depends how
I
you.
just feel like I'm just getting started because I am just having a ball coming back to
Oh,
school.
you're incredible too. You're incredible. I admire you. You're
Well,
I admire.
I'm inspired by you. And I've never been so excited about doing a book cover because you know, anybody that is such a positive person such as you, who's traveled the world and made reading and education a number one priority, I'm telling you, I will follow you to the ends of the world, you know, because that's what I'm about. And I'm excited because for those that are just kind of just now hearing about this is the last year our book club is going to be meeting the way it has because it started with here in the United States, here in Texas. It expanded pretty quick to 3 states. And then next thing you know, it's all across the United States. And I've always picked international books, but I don't think people really thought I was serious about it. So I got to thinking about it and I thought, well, people are watching on the YouTube channel all from all over the world. So I'm going to close this chapter down and I'm coming back with the Kathy L. Murphy Big Book Love. It's our passport to reading around the world because what I want to do is I want to take what started with this little seed and now it's getting to be a great big, plant, is that everybody can join no matter where you live. And we're all going to discuss the books and we're going to build bridges through, learning about each other. Because the more I find out about even the guy's office I'm in right now, he's from Pakistan and just the more I want to know about that country, the people, the customs, and I met all these wonderful people at Diwali, and I go to all these events to learn about other customs, and I will make it down to San Antonio eventually. But
Yes,
let's
please.
tell everybody about you. You're coming up here, and I'm so excited about that because I the professor I'm the graduate student assistant for, Dr. Joanna Matuzak, is from Poland, and her specialty is, the histories of art in the Cold War and her country. So she said she was going to this conference. Could I run her classes while she was gone? And I was just like, well, wow, she's got so much confidence in me. And then I see a post from you, and
Mhm.
you go, I'm going to this Cold War conference. I go, what? Wait a minute, where? And come to find out, both Antonina and Dr. Matusak were both going to the same conference. So I quickly email her and say, you've got to find her and meet and tell her that we're friends and you're one of my authors, and then tell what happened, Antonita. This is all about making the connections through reading. Tell what happened.
Of course, connections to reading are amazing because they connect people from different places of the world. And this particular convention, it's called ASEES, and it's attended by professors and students and people who are interested in Slavic studies. And it is not just the Cold War; it is even prior periods. It's history in different topics. And Dr. Matusek, she is her specialty is art history, and because her concentration is about art history during the Cold War. Uh, she realized that I do have this knowledge about this period, so she invited me to give a presentation, which I'm so excited I can hardly wait. I already have prepared PowerPoints with exhibits from those periods, and just describing this gloomy, very depressing period of time of history in that part of the world. How the state police, it not just controlled individuals, but it also controlled all phases of their lives. For example, art was affected tremendously. Uh, and the intelligentsia, as it was called, they want to control the minds of people, of the brightest people in the country. So I'm looking forward to giving this presentation and meeting you and seeing you there and meeting people on your campus. Yes.
It's a beautiful campus, and we've got people from all around the world here. So it's going to be such a honor and privilege to have you come. And the fact that they met at this conference, and then she goes, guess who's going to come and speak at the university? And I'm going, oh my gosh, I cannot hardly believe it. But I'm going to be presenting to her actual painting of the book cover. It's like 18 by 24 that she can take home with her, and we're going to have a wonderful time. But there's no better way to understand a book or a story unless you have the author or the person that has lived in these places come and speak. We have preconceived notions, and I'm finding out that you might as well just throw those out the window, because the more I meet people from all over the world, the more I see similarities. And people are people. We all have the same basic needs. We may have accents, we may have different customs, we may have different religions, but basically, keep an open mind. And
Mhm.
that's what this book club is going to be. It's going to be all about making these connections. And hopefully, as soon as I get out of school, I'll be able to go to some of these places like Antonita went. I'd love to go to Bulgaria. I'd love to go to Poland. I actually just read
Please.
about this country I knew nothing about in my Cold War class, and I can't even pronounce it. It's Kazakhstan, north of Afghanistan, that has a museum I would love to see, because it's all these artists that were banned from being in any of the galleries in any of the Soviet Union, and now they've got all these artists, I'd love to see it. So I'm thrilled about it, and I'm thrilled that you're going to be here, and we're just going to have a wonderful time. Students are in for a real treat. So if anybody's interested and going to be around Tyler, Texas, contact me and we'll see what we can do. So now you've written this book. It's so inspiring. And, it's actually I took an antique globe from my home and I painted the background as of a globe. And I tried to keep that, travel log theme because she's such a traveler. But this book is a springboard because now there's so many directions you could go, all the people that you're meeting, all these dishes that you've been making. I want the recipes for. I'm thinking, whatever your next book is, please include some of those Bulgarian recipes. And
Actually, they are in the appendix here.
yeah,
Not a lot, but
they
I should probably share with you more of those recipes. Yes.
And so many of these are very much like some things I've had in other countries. They just have a little bit different names, but it's all such fresh vegetables and food. Now, do people in Bulgaria, do they shop daily like most European countries, or do they shop like here? Everybody goes to Walmart once a month or
Well, it's not once a month, but in the city they shop maybe every second or third day.
yeah.
In the provinces they shop daily, because in smaller places it's easier to get around. Uh, a lot of people still have their own gardens if they have, if they're outside in the outskirts. So vegetables, this is something that everybody, it's the the uh, something that is in all of the meals that are prepared. So it's changing there too because of the work conditions, people who live in the cities. Yes.
Yeah, it is fascinating. I know when I went to Italy and Greece and France, we would go every day to the bakeries, or we'd go to get a patisserie, we'd go get a dessert for the night's meal. It was absolutely, and you don't have to carry as much. I hate carrying in groceries. So I would much rather just go to, in New York, they have a deli on grocery on every corner. And I just think and you're getting out with people,
Mhm.
and sharing a meal. But if you go on Facebook and on your posts on Instagram, what all the social media are you on? You're on a lot.
I'm in LinkedIn also, Facebook, of course, and Instagram. Um,
Are you on Threads yet?
no.
You really should, because there's a lot of authors. It's kind of been taken over by authors. Threads,
Oh,
it's brand
okay.
new. And Jamie Ford has been on this big Asian tour, and I've been posting all of his pictures from there. And that's the one thing. I was one of those kids that loved it when people would have, we had neighbors that traveled a lot, and they would have slideshows. Remember those? Where
Yeah.
everybody gathered around a big projector and they'd show a slide from their family vacation. I love them. But I also love National Geographic and the Wonderful World of Disney. When they do that, they go to the different countries. So I've always had this real bug for travel, and I know you do. And so, where are you going to go next? What's in on the agenda for the future?
I probably will travel mostly in the States for the next few months.
Yeah.
Europe is definitely, in the picture. I will go back to Europe. Um, which countries? I'll go to Bulgaria, of course, and I couldn't really visit a lot of the cities that they invited me last year, so I'll have quite a bit of travel there. But also visit other cities because there are people who have been following me. I have like
Oh,
well, a few thousand followers, and they're asking me if I'm in Europe. Well, Europe, but the countries are not that far from one
oh.
another.
Well,
So
some of them aren't. Now, India, you got to make a lot of trips if you want to cover that country. But
Europe,
Bulgaria, yeah. How many people are in Bulgaria?
I'll tell you, and you'll understand what happened. There were 8 million when the wall fell down. There are 6 million now. You know why? It's like open a cage where birds were enclosed and the birds just fly out. 2 million people left. And these were mostly younger people who really wanted to improve their lives. They knew that in Bulgaria, even though communism fell, it was a rough period, for quite a while. Maybe the first decade was kind of rough. It's fine now. And there are a lot of people going back, actually, working for American companies and now online. Of course, there are a lot of positions people can do. But yes, right now they're not, they lost a couple of million people there, yes.
That amazing. We're the world is very transient now. People
Mhm.
are going a lot of different places, and all the more reason. Once we get through this whole COVID thing, it's still going on, by the way. Um,
Mhm.
there's people around here I know and love dearly that have it. So you have to be careful. But when we'll figure it all out, we'll get it all figured out. But I tell you, every time I make a trip, I always think I'm never going to miss an opportunity to take a trip again because you it just opens up your world and it makes you appreciate your own home too. I mean, when you come back home, you go, okay, I was a little tired of this cabin during COVID. And now that I'm back in school, I look forward to going back home, when I do each evening. But I'm very excited. Have you thought about starting on a third book?
People asked me last summer when I was in Europe, what will I write next? Actually, they were even giving me ideas. I'm thinking about it. I haven't started it yet. It will be again something that I'll take topics from here. Bulgarians, because they came out of such a gloomy, I would say, period in their lives with the communism behind. They want me to write books on happiness or any topic that involves happiness, and they love my books because even the first one, which describes communism, and all of that, people read it, and in the end, they look at me and they say, but we feel happy about it because it's so encouraging, it's motivating, and they get inspired. It's inspirational, so they want me to write books that are inspiring, that are motivating people to better themselves, and of course books about happiness. So I'm
Well,
thinking about
I'm going to crown you the ambassador for international happiness because you have certainly, you deserve to wear that crown because we really believe that everybody has a story.
Mhm.
Everybody has a story.
Absolutely.
And sometimes it's the most, what you think ordinary people have the most extraordinary stories, and yours is what you have an extraordinary story. And until people understand and read it, they're not going to understand. So, everybody that's watching this, because this is being recorded and it's going to go up on YouTube. So, I just will be putting it up on the channel. If anybody has any questions, I now have changed the Pulpwood Queen Presents page on Facebook to the Kathy L. Murphy Big Book Love. So you can go over there. You can post all week, Antonita, all month if you want, and I'll post everything up there. If people want to ask you questions, or if they start reading your book, The Magic of Longevity, they can say, "Oh, I saw this recipe. I tried it. Here's a photo." We would love that. So anything that you would like to ask her, we want to keep that open. So it's Kathy L. Murphy Big Book Love on Facebook. And so, any last words you want to share with anybody on? I mean, you look fantastic. What does your husband think of all this?
Well, he's supportive. He's
He has
supportive,
to be because you
but I
guys
do
know.
I do my own thing. I'm very independent, as you see. I left home when I was 19, and everything that I undertake in my life, I need this freedom to develop and to create and and I need the support from the family, of course, from that and my friends. And I draw this energy from people like you too. You inspire me. So yes, it has been really a very, very happy time for me ever since I became a writer.
And keep painting. I mean, I would love to see what you're painting because she took, I did an alcohol ink workshop when we were in Amelia Island. She goes, oh, I do. I've been watching some of the things you put up, and I think there's nothing that expresses people more than writing and art and singing and songwriting and music, and celebrate the arts and everything that you do and keep moving, because when you stop, you drop. Isn't that the
Yes,
truth?
exactly, exactly.
My friend that was 90 years old before he passed away, and he did not die of old age. He got an aneurysm. But Fred McKenzie always told me, Kathy, don't ever stop. Just keep going. And I go, well, I have a hard time sitting still even during my conference. I like to get up in between. And I was playing with the dogs this year because I was doing it at a boarding clinic. But I am thrilled that you're here. I can't wait to see you in March. Do we have the date again? I forgot. I didn't bring my calendar. It's March
March
the
25th.
March, the end of March. So it'll be after spring break, everybody. Everything will be in full bloom on this beautiful campus. And I'm going to turn this so everybody can see the view. I'm on the top floor of the pharmacology building. It's beautiful here, even in the dead of winter. They have incredible people working the grounds. And I every day I'm out walking around these buildings. I just keep thinking about you and doing those steps. But if you're going to do something, do it with intention to see beautiful things and look for the beauty in life. Because just to get on a treadmill, that's not me. I've got to get out there and walk around and talk to people. And I know you do too. So, okay. Anything else you want to share with us before we go? Do you have a website, or what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Okay, I have a website. It's my name, AntoninaDuridanova.com, and that's where you're going to see your nice cover, for which I'm so grateful. That's an amazing book. People have been asking me in Europe, who created that, so I had to describe you.
It's a one of a kind. I don't think anybody, it's three-dimensional, you all. Everybody goes, oh my goodness, it looks like you could almost touch that hair. And it goes, because it is hair. And they
Right.
go, what? And I don't know where I came up with this idea, but I just wanted to make her just, really stand out. And that was your beautiful dress, and I dolled it up. So anyway, I thank you for coming on this Friday night. Have a wonderful weekend in San Antonio, and I
Thank
will get
you.
down there, but I will be seeing you in March.
Of course. Thank you for tonight. This
Thank
was
you.
a very, very nice talk that we've had. I'm glad that I had a chance to really say a few things about my books and myself. I always find it difficult because I know that we're kind of constrained with time. I have to say a lot in a very short time. So I really appreciate the time that you took to invite me to this Zoom meeting, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in March.
I know. Well, I'm telling all my authors when we start the Kathy L. Murphy Big Book Love, if there's anything special authors that join want to do, I'm all aboard. We'll work out something and we'll get it done. Book launches, whatever. If you're doing something special, I went to Atlanta to do one with Anju Gatani when she launched her Winds of Fire series. I want to do more of that because there's nothing more important to me than getting your stories read. And you've got two great ones, and I'm looking forward to more in the future. So
Thank you.
thank
Thank
you. Big book love hugs. And you have a wonderful weekend. Bye, everybody. We'll see you
Bye.
next month. We're going to meet the third Friday of every month at this time. And because of my class schedule, I couldn't do it on Tuesdays anymore. So we will meet then. And thank you so much. Have a wonderful night. And bye, Magic of Longevity and New Beginnings. You guys both are up on all the online booksellers. So thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.